So recently we got a comment from somebody called Nemesis telling me to use the Dark Moon Sword in a different way, to use these different weapons to buff it and increase the damage by almost double. So to show you how this works, before we get into the extreme details, we got a giant here at Altus Plateau, just above the Lift of Dectus. So first of all, we've got 4 weapons equipped. We're going to take a Wondrous Physic to increase our magic. We're going to use a Staff to cost Terra Magica. And then we're going to use the Rallying Standard Ash of War. Then we're going to swap to the Dark Moon Greatsword, use the Moonlight Greatsword Ash of War, and then the Contagious Fury on the Jelly Shield, the Jellyfish Shield. And you can see here we can do almost 12,000 damage in one hit. You can see this other giant over here. We're going to kill him instantly in one go. And this, as Nemesis says, is great for killing bosses or anything that has an insanely high HP bar or something that you can prepare for a nice attack. If you have a look at the original damage that the sword does without any of those buffs, you can see here we do about 6,000 damage in one hit. And it still requires us to do 3 hits to kill the giant, whereas we easily killed it in 2 hits. So this can be a little bit confusing to set up at the beginning, but it's really straightforward. You just take the Wondrous Physic, you cost Terra Magica, you do the Ash of War on Rallying Standard, and then you swap over to the Moonlight Greatsword, and you do the Ash of War there, and then you swap to the Jellyfish Shield and use Contagious Fury, the Ash of War on there, and then you can use your charged attack, holding Charged Heavy Attack with the Dark Moon Greatsword to do this. And you can see here, this can do devastating damage. It's going to one-shot pretty much everything you hit that's weak, you know, like besides bosses. Bosses you'll probably still be able to destroy quite easily. All you have to do is just kind of stay within that circle, and you have about 20 seconds to just go mad. So you can see here for this build, I'm still using the exact same stats that we used on the Dark Moon build that we posted yesterday, just recently. And you can see this is the primary weapon that we're going to be using for this build, with 80 intelligence and a little bit of strength, a little bit of dexterity, some mind, vigor, and endurance. Now, along with the Dark Moon Greatsword in your main hand, in your primary slots, you're going to have the Commander's Standard, and this is only for its Ash of War. The Jellyfish Shield is going to be in your secondary slot, along with your Staff, because we have the Contagious Fury buff, the Ash of War from it, which increases your damage by, I think, by 20% for 30 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. And also in our offhand, we have Lusat's Glintstone Staff, and obviously this one has no skill on it, so no Ash of War. This allows us to easily kind of proc all of the Ash of Wars while we can still hold this one, and this one is only to cost Terra Magica. So for our talismans, we have the Shard of Alexander to greatly boost the attack power of skills, which obviously for our Dark Moon Greatsword, we have the one that lowers FP consumption by skills, which obviously we're using a bunch of Ash of Wars. This is really helpful to kind of not finish Orla FP. Then we got the Magic Scorpion to raise our magic attack, which increases our damage by a lot when we do the charged heavy attack with the Dark Moon Greatsword. And then the Godfrey icon, which enhances our charge spells and skills, which works for the Dark Moon Greatsword's charged heavy attack. And for our Wondrous Physic, we just need to have, you can either have like the Cerulean Hidden Tier to ignore FP cost, but we need to have the Magic Shrouding Crack tier to boost your magic attacks. That's very key to this build. Okay, so now I'm going to slowly explain the whole process that we do all the buffs and how we're using it. So we're starting out with the Staff in the left hand and the Commander Standard in the right hand. We're going to immediately drink our Wondrous Potion, our Wondrous Physic. Then we're going to cast a spell using our secondary weapons attack, which is going to cost the Terra Magica. Then you're going to use the Ash of War, and then immediately swap the Commander Standard to the Dark Moon Greatsword, use Ash of War again, and then you're going to swap the Staff to the Shield and use Ash of War again, and you can see here, we're going to get it in like that. And now you're ready. You can just hold your heavy attack to charge it, and you kind of just, you know, charge the Dark Moon Greatsword and just slash like this as many times as you want. If you stand in this magic circle, your magic damage will be increased by a lot. So if you can stay in the circle, and while your shield is still like glowing red, you're going to be doing a bunch of damage. You can see that lasts for about like 10 seconds or so, depending on how many hits you can get off. So this is a very cool one-shot gimmick build that you can use on this weapon so that you can kind of defeat bosses or anything that's really strong a little bit easier and, you know, have some fun experimenting. This obviously works for a bunch of other weapons too. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching.